listening, and it just like it jumps out at me. Like, I mean, actually from Eric Thomas, and I don't have a full quote, but it jumped out at me. Excuse me, I forgot to put my phone on silent. That's not good. That's on recording. So yeah, if you heard that, that's the phone because your man stayed with the business. But anyway, I heard Eric Thomas say something. He said, "Man, the reason some of y'all aren't successful is because you got to be out front on everything."
Mm-hmm.
And exactly. I was like, He's like, how many times have you missed an opportunity because you weren't at the lead? It's like, wow, So I mean, it really got me to thinking, and from just a one-line question, just putting it out there to the group. Can you be successful if you are not on the front line?
Yeah.
Okay.
My opinion. Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna say it like this. So simply like this. Every person that's become successful just because they didn't have to be the leader. They understood their role and they played their role very well. Take it like this. On any basketball team, football team, or whatever, everybody's gonna have to, play their role very well. You're more successful if that person plays their role. That person's more successful if their role is played to the point where you are the top in your part, because everybody doesn't have leadership qualities. Everybody's not Tom Brady. That's why it's only one. You dig what I'm saying? So you got some Russell Coons out there.
He say Tom Brady.
You got some. I can't stand Tom Brady. I'm a Bills fan. I can't stand Tom Brady. But there's only one. There you dig what I'm saying? So I mean, I feel like you could be successful being a role player. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my opinion.
Okay. I mean, you made some good points. Nothing wrong there. One of the things I thought about, I actually started breaking down the question. Now, again, this is something I've been thinking about for a little while, but I started breaking down. Well, I guess first you have to ask, like, what is success?
True.
If you don't know what success is, front, back, middle, does it really matter? I don't know. But that was actually like my first thought was, well, let me define success. And I know for me, success is when I'm laying that foundational brick or laying another brick as I build the foundation, my house, my wall, whatever you want to call it, as I build, it's like, okay, was that a good move or a bad move? Because sometimes things that look bad aren't necessarily bad. It just didn't turn out the way you want it. I mean, I'll use a simple example. I got into investing this year. And I bought a stock that's just trash. I mean, I looked at it on Friday, it's 70% down. And I'm like, okay, the chances of this bad boy coming up, it's probably pretty small. But the lesson I learned about why did I buy it, why did I do it, honestly, part of it was trying to be out front. Part of it was like, man, I'm gonna get ahead of everybody else on this one. Watch this gonna bump. Watch, everybody gonna wish they had this.
Right, and
nobody wants it. So I mean, me looking forward to telling everybody that I found something that they didn't, trying to be out front is the way I look at it. Yeah, but I learned a lesson from it too, right? So I'm still pulling success out of it, but I'm definitely learning, like, okay, the best moves, like you said, is waiting for the quarterback to say, okay, look, here's the play.
Yep.
Because I can use the quarterback analogy, man, and I use it more from the spiritual side of like, okay, a lot of times we want to be a quarterback, but if we really, really, I mean, the way I look at it, I'm always, remember, this is always my opinion. Really, if we really look at it, God is the quarterback. We the running back, we the wide receiver, and I always think about it more like wide receiver, right? I'm like, God didn't call a play, right? He needs you to run your route. But if you steady looking back at the quarterback the whole time, the defense, like, I know where the ball going. It's going right there because this dude keep doing this.
Right.
Maybe you just want the ball real.
So it's like, just run your route. I mean, let the quarterback do his thing.
Right.
Again, that's just my take. But, and I see it in the workplace too, man, honestly. Like, I see a lot of folks in the workplace, they just can't handle when somebody says, okay, I need you to be on this team. Well, I got to be on that team. Why? Okay, I don't know nothing about. I don't want to help out with that because I'm not gonna get the credit for it. Okay, cool. But if the team win, you still getting credit. That's my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I ran into some of this in college. My last year, I'm a business major, so a lot of
Okay.
the things I ran into at the end, it was group work, and this 15 years ago, it was tough. You had people that did not do their work and would run and try to tell on the teacher and tell and things like that. And what they were trying to do is groom you for what was beyond, graduation. And a lot of people mentally just couldn't deal with it. And I know I had a guy. This guy said, "Hey, I'm rich. My dad owns a car dealership. If I just graduate, I got a job, I got a house. I don't really have to do the work. I'm just kind of here because he told me to be here." And I was one of the people that actually did like all of the work. And the teacher didn't really, I mean, it was just one of those things we had to deal with it as a group. But it was just like, wow, it's like, are we groomed to want to be the best and do it by ourselves? Like, has America done us like that? Like, even as children, who don't want to lead in the front of the line? Like, who don't want to be the line leader? Take it,
Yeah, no, what you're saying is definitely facts. I mean, we're taught, whether explicitly or just through our experience, you got to give your best. You need to be a leader. And I don't know if those are bad things. I don't know how they fit all the time. And I do think the older we get, the more we lean on folks. My workouts, in the gym, my workouts took off when I got a partner.
That's
I
good.
was in the gym over a year. I saw what they call newbie gains, I think. Where, you kind of get the, like, oh, okay, bet I lost 15 pounds. Bruh, you gonna lose 15 pounds just by being there. If you're consistent, you're gonna lose 15 pounds just by being there. But was your goal 15 pounds? Or was your goal to be in shape, feel better, be stronger, look better, whatever? I always tell people my goal is simple. I just want to look sexy in a t-shirt. That's me.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to be able to breathe, walk up down the steps.
There you go. So
stand for a long time. Yeah.
I feel you. But I mean that I do feel like we are groomed to be leaders, but sometimes being a leader is not necessarily being out front. And that's why I thought it was important to use the word out front, because you can still, that's success right there. If you led your team to the victory, but you weren't on necessarily out front, you still won.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can still be out front and be successful. Most people who are successful are out front, but they're only out front after they gave it an opportunity, gave some shit a trial risk. And that's what, the thing is, are you willing to take that risk to be out front and fail? Like you said, you said yourself, you failed, when you went at that stop. That's cool. You learn from it. You look into another one. Quietly, you got this one on the side, nobody looking at, and let's say it boom. Nobody expected Bitcoin to boom at all. It was up, down, it was trash. Then it jumped to 60,000. Now it's down to 30,000. Like, it's just the game you play. So you don't get me wrong. You can be a front runner. You can be out front. You can be the person that everybody see. You can be the face of the league, and you're gonna get a lot of big bucks. But you don't have to be that. You dig what I'm saying? But you got to play it smart on that back end, because you're not gonna get all them opportunities that person out front gonna grab.
Okay, so now let me throw another layer on it, because I'm gonna give you one more layer. So we just got finished. Everything we talked about was from an individual perspective.
Mm-hmm.
How about from a community perspective?
Oh, okay.
Are we behind because we value attention over substance and progress?
Jesus.
But are we really behind because of that?
I'm asking the question.
Okay.
I'm asking the question. I'm asking honestly. Okay, so not. All cards on the table. I believe so. Absolutely. I absolutely believe it. I'm gonna use Obama as my example, and it's not a personal attack, but what I saw throughout Obama's presidency was a tendency to not pay attention to how far we moved the goal, or not goal, excuse me, not goal, but how far we moved the progress needle. We kind of took an eye off of that in favor of, but that's my man. I know this dude.
We got happy with just that. Yeah. It was like, woo, we made it and sat down. Yeah.
As a community, we were out front. That's my man. He looked just like me. He looked like my daddy. He looked like my brother. We out front. Well, we got this. That's my, my president is black. That's all, we got, everybody was down, it was, okay, 8 years. What did we substantively get? I don't want to sit here and break down everything, because there were definitely some gains. I'm not gonna sit up here and say there were zero gains. What I would say is I don't know how successful we were in that scenario as a community.
Ooh, that's a great question. Yeah, he thinking. Yeah.
No, I'm not thinking. It's like it's you say we weren't successful, but no one man can change everything. Like, don't get me wrong. That idea, the seeing a black president for the first time was huge. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't play it up or down. Yeah. That's a first for anything. That was one of the biggest anythings ever. So the first black president was huge.
Okay.
I think as a community, we got caught up in that before he became president. You see what I'm saying? I feel like up until the run, nobody really listened to Mitt Romney. Nobody listened to Paul Ryan. Nobody listened to nobody definitely listened to Sarah Palin, but nobody listened to John McCain. Because what we were looking for was a certain type of difference. With you got George Bush, who warmonger. You got Bill Clinton, who was labeled technically the first black president was Bill Clinton. Let's be honest. The community as a whole, while we won't say he black, we won't give him the black card. We'll be like, shh, he smoke weed, he like jazz, and he like women. What else does he want? He from Arkansas and he eat barbecue. So
I always call Bill Clinton the Pied Piper because he played that saxophone and
he played it, but the thing about it is he's been consistent ever since. He ain't changed. Bill Clinton been the same person ever since he was president.
Right, but I'm saying though, but we were out front. We got the attention. Yeah, we got all the attention from Bill Clinton, Obama, or just Obama. If you want to just stick with the one, we got all the attention that we wanted. We got all the symbolism. Everybody felt good. Everybody high fiving.
But they did the same thing. They did the same thing after 9/11. So it's a normal thing for humans to do something like that. At 9/11, everybody was patriots. Everybody waved the flag.
About a year.
You did what I'm saying? As soon before 9/11, you couldn't find somebody that had the flag on their house. It was very few. The minute 9/11 happened, everybody was a patriot. Everybody was a strong American.
Okay.
So when black folks finally got their first president, we always gonna be like, hoorah. And of course, it's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers with their hands out. It's gonna be a lot.
All right. Hey man, that's fair. That's fair. And again, it's these opinions, right? I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know if there's a right answer to it.
It's not a right.
What I would caution people, for me at least, because again, I caught this kind of early in the week. For me, the lesson is I don't know if there's really an answer. Part of the reason I brought this to the table, I don't know if there is a right answer. I don't know if there's a definitive way you can go about it. What I would say is if you have never asked yourself the question, you're already failing.
Oh, wow.
I agree.
I agree that too. Yeah.
Just like right now, like I'm looking at Larry's background and I'm like, I need that in my life. That's success right there. I can get in line behind that. I can do that.
Yeah. I had another piece of that just Obama before we move on. It has to go back to expectation. What were we expecting when we got the president? And I think you have a myriad of expectation within our community. They said he didn't do much for black folks. Maybe it gets deep. It gets deep because they knew one day Obama wasn't going to be president anymore either. So some people was looking down the road like this.
Who said he can do nothing for black folks though?
Some black folks.
He was only half black, so I only needed half of the benefits. I
hate that shit.
Folks like that.
Half black. I hate that shit. Yeah,
I forgot about Travis Smiley.
That motherfucker had African halfway. Yeah, we
know what I'm saying. So I'll take half on it. I mean, it's all good, you know.
Oh man,
but seriously, ask yourself the question, and I mean, again, we could go on and on and on. Another kind of like sub part of that question, not asking the question for discussion's sake, but just for thought's sake, it really challenges you to think about what type of follower you are. Because as you said earlier, most successful people come from a background of learning, whether it's formal or not, but that those moments where you're like, okay, let me get in line for a minute and figure out how this thing goes. So, again, I think to me, the bigger issue for most of us, have you ever truly asked yourself what type of follower I am? Can I be successful while not being out front?
Yeah. I feel you.
So that's what I'm bringing today. So, I mean, that's what I brought to the cookout.
That falls right in line with my question. So, like, I'm so with it right now. Okay. I'm just waiting.
Well, hey, man, I'm passing the mic, man.
So, I mean, like, what my question basically was simple. Like, what's the reward for being a top performing employee or a top performing, role player? What is the reward for doing so? Like, I just say it from a personal standpoint. Every job I've been at for longer than a year, I was always like the go-to guy. You give me something hard, I can get it done. You give me something good, give me something that high expectations, I can do it. And at times I was able to control my own destiny. At times it was like fighting against a wall because they wanted more and more. They kept moving the goalpost. So my question is there a reward for being a top employee? It's a kind of a similar question as yours, Courtney. Can you be, successful and not be out front? But now you out front, you not necessarily out front, but you got it. Everybody look at you. Got to get everybody that go to guy. So what's the reward for being that?
Larry, I'll let you jump in on it because I got several thoughts.
I've been in corporate America since 2007, so that's like 15 solid years. At some point, whether it was customer service, in the background. But what's the reward for being a top employee? Sometimes you really don't get a reward. It can be as cynical as, oh, great, you get to keep your job. You're bad, that's one answer. Mm-hmm. And I was a person for a long time when you're a good person, you become invisible. Dependable but invisible. Go back to the classroom. The real bad kids, they remember them. And the ones that have unique attributes. But the folks in the middle in corporate America, you kind of can just get washed away until you say something like, I'm leaving, or I want this, or I want that,
Right.
Yeah.
And you can be labeled a troublemaker. But for me, you always come to work, you always come on time and do a good job and all of that. A lot of times people can take you for granted. At least that's been my story.
Yeah.
Just be glad you have a job. Well, this year for annual review, you don't get a raise. We're already paying you too much money. What? I got that for about 3 years. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Just be happy. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that's just
I focused on. For me, I focused on the word. There's 2 words. Okay. Employee and reward. Right. So I've been a manager. I've always been an employee. I mean, to me, employee just means you don't own the company. I don't care if you CFO, CEO, If you don't own the company, you're an employee. So, everybody from the owner down is an employee.
Okay.
What level are you on? I mean, everybody knows their level. Right now, I would say I'm mid-level career. But I've always been an employee, and the majority of my income has come from being an employee. Now, for me personally, I shifted my mind a few years ago to thinking about employees. To me, the top reward is your paycheck. That's me. I never felt like, handing me a certificate saying, well, you completed how many widgets this week. All right, but if I can't take that certificate to the bank, it don't mean as much to me. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate recognition. I had a situation this week. I didn't feel good about the work. I kind of got toward the end of it and I said, ugh, it didn't feel good. And actually, I appreciate my supervisor in that scenario because he was like, hey, bro, everything turned out fine. We'll get better at it. We got a good result. Maybe not 100% of the result that we wanted, but hey, man, don't you dare, take this as a win. So that felt good. That was a good reward. But whether we were at 100% of our goal or 90% of our goal, I never really felt like my money was threatened. And so for me, a lot of times it's bringing my best internally. So my reward is generally going to be internally. Did I put in my best effort? Did I get from that effort what I expected? And so the reward for me for being a top employee, the check is always out there. I would say, and again, it depends on your meter. I would say sometimes the reward for being a top employee is your peace of mind. One of my basic rewards is when I leave, I don't got to think about them. That's a reward for me. It's a huge reward when I walk in my door. By the time I leave, by the time I crank up my car and get home, I have let go. I have decompressed. It doesn't mean you don't build on every day. It doesn't mean you don't have tasks that you put aside for the next day. But for me, a huge reward is something I looked for when I took this job was, I said, I don't want to have to do this thing at night. I remember my previous job. I'm in the bed like, well, I think they sent me email. I don't want to do that no more.
Notifications, yeah.
I don't want to do that no more. So, I sought a place that rewarded me by allowing me to say, hey, when you leave, you good. Give us 100% of you while you here. Your time is your time. So that's for me, the reward for me. So again, to answer the question, what's the reward? If it's me, the best reward you can give me is give me some time back.
You don't get time back though. That's the only thing, man. Like I heard somebody say, you spend what is it like 75% of your life at work. I mean, you only get 25% of your whole life with your family. That shit, like, be honest, like me being a father of 2 young kids, I can't have it. It's just like I saw my dad get up every morning and go to a place that he couldn't stand going
for a long time, didn't
he? Day. And I don't knock my dad for not giving me the foresight to think differently. So, but I have to think on a different scale because we've all been top performing employee, the go-to guy to say, hey, Courtney, I need this done. I know if I give it to anybody else, it's going to get fucked up. I know if I give it to you, it's going to get goddamn done. Facts. Lay down. Same thing with you, Larry.
Yeah,
so
I think
being that guy, while you looking at everybody else behind you, they getting the same paycheck as you. They working the same hours as you. They half the work you doing. What's the reward? Especially if you sitting there, you putting in for job application, that mean promotion after promotion, and ain't nothing going down.
Well, okay, but maybe but are you talking? Okay, and I'm gonna use this could be semantics. Are you looking for reward or are you looking for incentive?
You would look for incentive at any job. Your incentive is your paycheck.
Like
okay, so for
motivation.
you, the paycheck is the incentive.
Your incentive is your paycheck.
So that's
you
on the
work a
front
certain
end.
amount of hours. That means you get this amount of your money on your paycheck that we talked about at the beginning of your job.
So the incentive is on the front end and the reward is on the back end.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because the same people getting the
Okay.
same incentive that you getting doing half the work that you doing.
So we all
But they
got
don't
the
get-
incentive, but on
Yeah.
but
Everybody got an incentive.
So
Your
they don't
incentive is not just to get up and hit off on your alarm clock just to wake up. That's your life incentive.
all right.
But
So if
your
so
paycheck.
let's flip it for a minute though. I want to flip it. I gotta flip it for a minute.
Okay.
If you own a company, what's the difference between an incentive and a reward?
See, that's the difference. If you own the company, your incentive is getting your ass up to make sure that company is still yours the next day. Your reward is that big ass paycheck you get at the end of the month.
It's my company, whether I'm successful or not. Like, bruh.
Not necessarily, because it's people that didn't get up in the morning and said, man, you know what, that check gonna be there regardless. And they got that same check that 1 month, that next month that check was less because they didn't put in the work.
Okay, so you'd rather work on a reward basis instead of an incentive basis. Like, do the work. If I like the work you did, I'm gonna give you a little extra. If not, I'm gonna cut you a little bit off.
So think of it like this. Let's say you have no what's what I'm looking for? You have no
motivation.
You have no motivation to be a business owner.
Okay.
You have no motivation to be a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
You find getting a check every month as long as that check coming in twice a week, every week, whatever, and you fine with that.
Okay.
But as you work, you see that wow, this dude own this business and he busting his ass to make sure the business stay open and everybody getting paid what a boss do. You doing your job, but the people behind you or the people right next to you in the same position aren't doing theirs. So my thing is this: if you gonna tell me, okay, everybody gets on the same playing field and everybody gets a raise at this certain time or for whatever reason, blah 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 blah. What reason do I have to work twice as hard as that motherfucker next to me?
Okay, so you talking about what I consider workplace culture. Like I have not, and honestly, it's been a long time since I've been in a place where everybody got the same raise. I've been probably at least the past 10 years, I've been in scenarios where actually when I think about maybe 20 years, I've been in scenarios where it's like, okay, everybody works for 12 months or 11 months. And then that 12th month, everybody has to go sit down and talk about what you did. And the floor for everybody might be 2% raise. Now, the cost of living goes up 2.5% on average in America. So 2% really ain't no raise. 2% is like, we just letting you, we just want you to show back up. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Like, don't leave because you know what you do. We know what we getting out of you. So we're going to give you 2, but 2.5 is what we know you need. So because you really didn't do nothing, you get the 2. The 2 is for everybody because, and again, that's economics, right? But then the people that got the 3.5s, the 4s, the 5s, the promotion. I've gotten promotions where they were like, bro, you about to, percentage-wise, you talking like 8-9%. And it's like, that's based on your performance. So that goes into everything you're talking about when it comes to, I did the work. Now, for me, it was always weird because it's like I had to do the work first to get it. You didn't reward me while I was doing it. I had to push through in hopes that you were going to do right. To me, that's a hard place to be in when you hoping, like, I hope when they come around for evaluations, they're going to be down with this because I know I'm putting in the work. I only got this one opportunity. I only got one. I got that 12 month is, when I sit down for that evaluation, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go over it. I'm hoping that all of that work I put in brings me more than just the 2% that everybody got. But then I'm also, and for me, you know, and this is just the way I was taught, you know, like I don't really look around at everybody else's paycheck anyway, right? You talk about your dad, like that's one of the things, like, you know,
certain things you don't discuss.
Yeah. Like I used to hate that. I used to be like, "Man, what they give you?" Hey, bro, don't
ask me what don't like look in my pockets. Get your hand in my pockets.
Got my money.
Honestly, okay. So honestly, like a lot of what you was, you know, this question right here reminded me of, you know, I know when I work, I brought a lot of the lessons I quote unquote learned on the street. I brought them with me into corporate America. Cause you know, on the street, you could, hey, bro, how much you holding? Slap. you can get killed. I mean, what am I holding?
Yeah.
Like, don't ever do that. And so bringing that type of mentality, you know, even on the street, we talk about like, all right, if you don't hustle, you don't eat.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that, I think we get comfortable in jobs, and some of what you're talking about are those people. Now, I've worked with folks, and I know that I remember one lady in particular I worked with. She was just, I think she would fit that category, what you're talking about, where it's like, wow, man, she ain't even pulling her weight. I went to her one day, though, and I understood. I said, you know what I realized? I'm like, she just done. She just living off of the past. Like, she ain't trying to pull no more weight. And she looking, and actually what she was doing was looking around saying, who am I going to bless with this knowledge? Because I'm out of here in a little while.
She was counting down. Okay.
She was on countdown, you know what I mean? And I get it, you know what I mean? Do I love it? Not necessarily. Do I want to be that way? Probably not. But I could respect it because I could see where she put in the work prior to that. So I couldn't be mad necessarily. Plus, I looked at where I was in my career and I said, well, I don't have anything to stand on. I'm like, I've been doing this less than 6 months. She's been doing it 16 years. How dare I come in here saying what she ain't doing? You know, but you know, I feel you. I mean, it sucks to work for a company that don't reward you when you ain't put in the work. You know, that's why I'm not a fan of like the universal raise. You know, I'm all down for the, you know, that's why I thought it was kind of brilliant when I noticed what that company I worked for, what they was doing. I said, that's brilliant. They only giving 2% to everybody based on just, okay, the economy says we got it, says you need 2% in order to show up.
Yeah.
Not to me, that was just, and I put myself in the mindset of the owner where I said, okay, if I was an owner, that's actually exactly what I would do. If I own the company, I would say, look, everybody get 2% just so I know who coming to work tomorrow. But if you want more than 2%, if you want that reward for being a top employee, show me something.
But I mean, go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you got the 60-year employee, but you also have we all worked with somebody that really just barely worked, like they couldn't fire them because they didn't do anything that was fireable, but it was just like you is just here. Like,
what was that like? Talk to me. Tell me what that was like. Talk to me.
Somebody else has to do their work. Like they call in. Like we approve like 1 sick day a month. Like they use up all their vacation by June, and it's just like they're constantly, it's constantly having to be addressed, but they can't get rid of them though. It's like they got rights and benefits. He
said they got rights.
You get paid hourly. That's the problem, bro. Like he ain't lying.
They play the system. I'm gonna call gaming. Yeah.
Say it again.
I mean, like seriously, like maybe I'm blind. Okay. I might have a blind spot to it, so that could be it. But
this is in early working years, you know, custom like lower level.
This is management too. What you talking about? It's shit.
I ain't gonna lie to you. When you talking about customer service, like when I was doing my customer service gig and I'm taking calls, I might have been guilty of it. I was like,
I'm talking about consistently, never trying. That's a saying. So even a broke clock is right twice a day.
Okay, fair enough.
You everybody gonna do it, bro. Like everybody took a day off. I took plenty of days off and just been like, I'm just gonna be on the clock today. I don't give nothing to say, oh, I'm not doing nothing. And I didn't do a damn thing that day. But it's like, what is your like I said, like everybody will get a paycheck as long as you work.
So let me ask you a question then. Since it's your question, I'm gonna come back with one.
Okay.
Is your problem the reward or the employee?
Oh.
It depends on which employee you're talking about.
Man, you sound like a lawyer talking about it depends.
It depends. No, seriously, it depends on which employee you're talking about. Because if you're talking about the top employee, yeah, the reward for being a top employee is shitty. Because it's the same fucking thing that everybody else get. And all they say is, well, why don't you go ahead and put in a position to be in management? You get in management and you get 10 times the work and twice the shit. So it's like, why the fuck do I want to be in management when I can just do all this shit and have my own shit? Or if you want to be the low level employee that's not the top employee, then what you gonna do? You just gonna sit back and all you gonna do is have your hand out asking for $1. Because your time is your money.
Right.
Okay.
Or before that, or are we gonna let's look at the company, the hiring process? Do they need to factor into that? Why are we even in this predicament to begin with?
You know, he just said he don't want to go to management, so he don't want to be a part of the hiring process.
Oh, okay. I'd actually be a high part of the hiring process for like 3 or 4 of my jobs, and none of them want me to be a part of that because I'm like, I'm gonna pick them apart. I'm not gonna pick who you want. I'm not gonna pick the cute little white girl. I'm not gonna pick the jock that everybody like or somebody who pretty. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to pick somebody who's gonna work. You don't want to pick no like. If you a top level employee, if you a top performing, let me say the top performing employee, whatever job you at, whether it's sales, whether it's production, whether it's in a warehouse, customer service, whatever. If you were to interview somebody, you're not going to hire somebody who's not going to give the same level of effort that you are, because you already got 6 people that's doing it.
Man, that's absolutely okay. All right, I'm gonna.
Okay.
You messing with me right now because I'm thinking about something right now. Okay, LeBron James is a top employee, 100% effort, best in the league. LeBron James picks his team.
Yeah.
Why they ain't winning championships?
Oh, we back to that.
It's the fact that he's not a good GM.
But you just said if I'm a top employee, I can pick the right people.
I mean, nobody's ever gonna be right 100% of the time. We just said a broken clock is right twice a day.
Okay, so then should the responsibility be on LeBron for the failure, or is it on the organization?
It's on both, in my opinion, because the organization is giving LeBron the opportunity to say, "Hey, I want Russell Westbrook. I want this guy. I want this guy." Now you done drain the team. You got rid of all these other people, so it's like. Yeah, it's on LeBron. It's on the organization too. But it's a difference. See, if we would have been given that opportunity the minute we mess up, it's like, yeah, we're not gonna do this again because you hired somebody that was dumb. Even though you hired 15 people that was dumb as hell. Like, don't you know what I'm saying? Like you just hired 15 people that was dumb. I hired one person that was dumb because I had one interview and I messed up that one interview by hiring this one person that messed up. So now I'm the failure. You see what I'm saying?
Well, they could have just. Some people can get through the process. I think that's why I was bringing that up.
Facts.
Some people know how to work a process.
Facts.
Okay. All right.
Or the interview is just not that smart.
Well, yeah.
The interview is not that smart.
I mean, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna walk away from this conversation because what I tell you is this: I think a lot of employees would be rewarded and would be better employees, would be top employees if they actually thought about it from an ownership perspective.
Oh, that's.
But I mean, you don't own anything if you can be replaced.
Yeah, but your mind, you're on your mind. I don't care where you
own your mind, but
yeah, if you come into a job like I'm just here to be an employee, all right, well, you probably not gonna ever. How do you give 100% when you think about yourself as just an employee? If not,
the thing about it is your entire thing is paying bills. So my thing is, you get up every morning. Yeah, you control your mind because you control of getting up and saying, "I'm gonna actually go and clock in today." But the thing about it is, your job. You can wake up one morning and say, "I'm about to go clock in." Your job say, "Hey, bro, don't worry about clocking in today."
Right.
So how can you say in your mind, like, don't get me wrong, I completely understand what you're saying, because I used to feel that way. I was like, man, this is like me. I used to work at I used to work at a music store back when I was in college, and I know a whole bunch of people that used to burn CDs. I used to snap at them. I'd be like, bro, you taking money out of my plate, bro, by burning these CDs and selling to people. Now I sound like a dumbass, because guess what? At the end of the day, them folks can be like, hey, Josh, we don't need you to come in today. We'll call you when we need you to come back in. You know what I'm saying? So how do I look defending something that is feeding somebody else but can be taken away from me? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. And that all falls in the same line, because if you are busting your ass as an employee, and don't get me wrong, like, even if you in management, you still gonna bust your ass. Even if you a CEO, you still gonna bust your ass. But what's the reward for it? Now, we don't get into semantics or anything else that may lead to other conversations that may take this anywhere else. But if I'm busting, if Courtney, if you my manager and I'm working hard, we getting rewards. You getting recognized, company getting recognized. What's gonna happen? You gonna put all that recognition. I mean, all those recognitions, whatever you call them, trophies, them awards, them achievements on your resume, and your next job or the promotion time, you're gonna be like, hey, I did all this.
Mm-hmm.
But me up under you is really the one who did all the work, because I'm the one making sure that none of the rest of the stuff got messed up, because you handed it all to me.
But
so I can say, yes, I was a part of this. Now, the only thing is, the difference is, if you man enough to be like, yeah, that's all on my resume, and when you interview, be like, yeah, but I have, it was my team. That's the difference. If you man enough to say, yeah, that was me and my team, I can rock with that. I can't be mad at you. But a lot of times, it ain't me and my team. It's me. I did this.
Okay. I mean, again, we gonna save some of that, because that can keep going. Because you said a lot there. I don't even want to touch it, because I understand where you're at, and I think it's important. It's just there are parts of it. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go and address it for the record, since we live and we recording. I'm gonna address it for the record. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on my resume. Yeah, I'm gonna speak on it. And I'm going to speak on it from the perspective of, I led that team. Now, my thing is this. If I move on to another position and I see the same challenges in that position as a manager, because see, by manager, by definition, if you put manager on your resume, it's expected that you had somebody underneath you. Okay. I had a position one time where I was a vice president and I had no team underneath me.
Non-supervisory, yeah.
And I was like, and they asked me about it one time. I said, look, the only reason I got that, somebody's like, they wanted, but I know what it was. They wanted it, I remember now. They wanted to change my title. And I told them after my team got let go, and I said, no, you're not changing my title. They're like, well, you ain't got no team no more. I said, yeah, but when I leave here, I'm going to need that title. And I let them know that. And that was my way of low key letting them know, I'm leaving. Because I'm not even managing nobody no more. And my strength was in my team. Y'all not about to hang all this on my neck.
Right.
No, sir. And I did my time, moved on. When I got to my next position, I told them, I said, look, I have experience with leading people. But that's not why I'm here. And I actually ran through it. So, I mean, that part of it is personal, right? Like, yeah, my team was successful. I led my team. Of course, I'm going to take credit for it. But I'm also going to look at my teammates and say, look, if the opportunity ever comes up that we cross paths again, I got you, because I already know how you work. That's where you get into recommendations, et cetera, et cetera. I got people calling me now. Can you mind writing a letter? I tell them all the same thing. I know I'm not writing you a letter. You're going to write it, and I'm going to sign
it. That's a man. All right.
You know what you did better than I do. I'm like, all I know is we won.
Yeah.
But that's the way I treat you with respect. That's the reward. The reward is like, look, I won't sign it.
Okay.
You gonna write it, but I'm gonna sign it because you did the work. So I don't want to pretend like, okay, I'm gonna sign it with almost without reading it. Like, okay, cool.
All right, let's move on because that one took a little time right there. What you got, Larry?
What you got,
Yeah.
Larry, man?
Would that slide us into to knowing your worth, knowing when to? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the background on that? How did you come up with knowing your worth? I gotta know.
Well, I'm shutting out in the text message, but I was thinking about sometimes I'm okay. I'm not morbid, but sometimes I said when I die on my tombstone, one word you're gonna put on there is that Larry was loyal. So sometimes in that loyalty, I can stay places and do things for too long. They were once beneficial and needed, but sometimes I just can't bear to let it go. It's like I don't know if I don't think I can. It can make it without me, but I'm so loyal that it can actually be a bad thing for me.
Okay.
So knowing my worth, I have to know that I can be better fit going somewhere else. I don't have to stay. I'm staying for the other person or the other people. I sacrifice myself. But if I know my worth and I believe that, I should be able to move on.
All right.
That's one.
You talking about from a career perspective or a personal perspective, relationship, like?
Oh, it can be personal.
Okay, I
yeah.
got you.
It can be any of that. Yeah, knowing your worth, meaning what you're willing to accept.
Yeah,
what you're willing to put up with. Yeah. Are you putting up with the job just for the paycheck? Or are you dealing with this friend just for the connection? Y'all not really friends,
Yeah.
Like settling.
So my question to you will be in knowing your worth, like what would you consider a good sign of your worth? Because some people overvalue themselves. Some people are just good employees. That's why my last question was my last question. Some people just great employees. And they feel like, oh, I'm valuable. I'm platinum level. No,
That's hot.
you just
That's good.
Okay.
That's
Yeah. Let me say this before I lose it. Just because I've been here the longest, I think I'm talking about the person. They think they are the best because they've been there the longest, and that's not the truth. Like that seniority system. Like that's
oh Lord, don't talk about seniority. Oh Lord.
But then I have managers secretly tell me in a meeting that you're one of our best employees, or that person makes the most errors. But they've been there a long time, so they think they stuff don't stink. Like it's like it's not fair. It's not a fair playing field. Yeah. And
okay? So you're talking about in the corporate setting, knowing your value.
Right.
The easiest measure, and we've been doing this since day one. I mean, going back to, basically, I mean, since inception, we look at it as what you bring to the table, right? Like how much do you get paid? I can use Cain and Abel. Cain was like, well, this my offering, is just as good as his. That's knowing your worth. But in a very, contemporary setting, the easiest measure is, well, okay, how much does that person get paid? Now, I like to assume that most people won't show up for a job that's not paying them enough. Matter of fact, that's one of the problems in America right now that we're dealing with is folks is like, I'm not going back to work for that. That's it's stalling our economy right now because people are like, I'm not going back to work for that. Okay, that's global, right? But very, again, just thinking of more personal in the scenario. I mean, knowing your worth on the job, and as a manager, sometimes you have to know how to like work with people. Because I know I've had a team of folks where one person, if I wasn't telling her every day how good of a job she was doing, her production was going to go down.
Wow.
And and it was always awkward. It was like, man, I got to really rub your back every day to get the work out of you that I want. Whereas I had somebody else who she was very clear with me. She was like, do me a favor, stop rubbing my back and just leave me alone for 30 minutes a day and I'll give you everything you want. That's all she wanted. She wanted 30 minutes of just, don't bother me.
Me to book alone.
Let me do my work. Yeah, let me
do it. And it wasn't, no. And that's the crazy. It wasn't work. It was actually like, look, you asked me what time I got back from lunch. Because I used to ask her, like, why you don't take your lunch at this time? She's like, well, with everybody else, basically. Because I prefer to eat at this time. Because this is what I do on my lunch break. That's how I got the most out of her. So to her, her worth was based on the amount of time that she wasn't bothered.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other person's worth was based on the amount of time that I gave them. And I couldn't give them enough. It was like, you got to give me more.
Yeah.
So from a manager's perspective, and then for me as a manager, it was difficult because I was used to working with people who basically had a lot of self-motivation. I forget what the other word is I'm looking for here, but people could work independent. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, to me, knowing your worth, like in the corporate setting, I'm at a point where for me, it's always about time. I tell people all the time, I don't get paid by the hour. I get paid by what I bring to the hour. Like it's just that simple. Like,
that's good. That was a nugget.
I'm not. No, I don't. I'm looking at my paycheck at the end of the day, going, "Cool, I'm good." It's 40. I usually will actually work more than 40 hours a week, but I'm goal oriented, meaning what's my goal for this week. Now, when you talk about knowing your worth outside of corporate, that's when I really get excited because to me, corporate is like, all right, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think about like, okay, it means that my time, because I guess actually no, when I think about it, they are similar. My time is so important. I don't want to waste it with anybody.
Yeah, putting up with stuff. Yeah.
I'm not wasting time with nobody.
Nobody.
I don't care who you. To me, the biggest thing you can do to disrespect me is waste my time.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's the most disrespectful thing you can do. That's what makes me mad at the job sometimes. Like when it's like that hurts my feelings. When somebody says, "Hey, look, we got a meeting, schedule it for 3:00." You're like, "All right, cool, 3:00, got a meeting." Then they call you and say, "I ain't gonna be able to make it," or "I'm gonna need to postpone it," or "I'm gonna need to, we're gonna need to wait." And you're like, "But I set aside this time for you."
And for me, like I said no to other things, so I can come to your thing,
Yeah. So, and I'm not 100% either. There are times where I've had to go back and apologize to people where I'm like, dude, I had my time messed up, my bad. But that's a big one, like for me. So for me, my worth is based on how if I give you that time, I dole out my time based on what it's worth. Now relationships, they don't ask me. I've been up and down that roller coaster. I got, nah. I can teach you, but I can't do it.
That's fair. Yeah. Sometimes I just see what some people put up with. Like, do they not know their worth? Like, you don't have to take that, and that can be applied in any relationship, all ships, any ship. Yeah.
And see, sometimes I think it's a survival thing too. Like I ask myself that sometimes I see people, I'm like, your worth, you just in survival mode.
Okay.
And that places a lot. Like I see a lot of people, whether you talking about, I see it mostly with jobs and with relationships. I see people, I'm like, I see why you with him. You know what I mean? I see why you with her for that matter. I get it, bro. You ain't got to explain. I see why you working that job because you got bills.
Yeah.
You need somebody. When I was at Walmart, man, that was one of the like funnest, like dumb jobs I ever had. And I will say this, talking about knowing your worth. I encourage anybody who might hear this, might see this, at least once in your life, you need to work at a job that you can walk away from. And you need to develop that skill. I developed it at Walmart. When I worked at Walmart, I knew the day I walked in the door, I wish somebody would. I will walk on the same day that you make me mad. I'm not going to wait to go home. I'm not going to go outside and have a smoke and think on it. I promise you cross the line, I'm going to tax you that same day. And for me, it was a fun experience and it grew me up, professionally to walk into a place and say, the only reason I'm here is because I want to be.
Wow. That's good. My dad did that the last 2 or 3 years before he retired. Like he always said, I could quit any day I feel like. And he felt it, not in a mean way, but he was like, yeah. If they put in a new policy or change something up, he was like, oh, okay, fine, bye.
Man, it's a dude in my job. Okay, going back to something you said earlier, John. Dude at my job, they talking about bringing in a new computer system. This man, and he straight pen and paper on everything. And he got a computer mind. He came to me, he said, when they put in that computer system, I'm out of here. And it kind of hurt me because dude is so sharp. He knows his job so well that it's scary for me to think about what it'd be like without him, because in a lot of ways he mentors and like, well, let me show you how this done, or he can pull it down real quick. So it's interesting to be in a scenario where I'm like, wow, I don't want him to do to us what I tell people all the time, which is be ready. Mm. So, but yeah, I mean, that he knows his worth, and for him, it ain't worth it to learn a computer system. He don't want to learn it. He's like, it ain't
not
worth
at that point in his life. Not where. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you don't know your worth, it's not because of lack of knowledge, it's because you don't know nobody. Like, my folks, they worked. They were workers. They worked. The whole thing that was when I grew up was get a job, get good benefits, marry somebody, have a family, have kids, grow old, enjoy your retirement, Social Security, die. That's it. Like, it was no take risk, go jump off a bridge and see if you'll survive, trying to do some dumb shit. It was simply stay as safe as possible. So when it came to a point where I realized that my work was way more valuable than my paycheck, I was like, am I really worth trying to do something different? Is it really worth trying to do something different? And am I worth, can I provide value elsewhere outside of what I do or what I'm comfortable with? You know what I'm saying? So like it's some people that I feel like don't know really what their worth is, and they're failing because for the most part, when they try something, it doesn't work, they quit, and then they go back to what they're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Me myself, I tried it. I'm not doing great, but I feel like it's something I can work on. And that's the thing about knowing your worth, because you may not even know your worth. I mean, and that comes in a relationship as well, because you might be in a relationship with somebody who is treating you nice right now, and really and truly somebody could be treating you way better on the back end or on in another situation, but you choose to ignore that because you are in this one situation. And you don't understand that your worth, your time, your value was much more, So I feel like, ignorance, lack of knowing, that may be why you don't know your worth,
Oh, yeah. No, you said all, man. That's
you did that, yeah.
It's hard to come behind that one, man. You put a lot of fire on that, man. That's a lot of fire right there, man. It's cooking good, man. I like it, man. Because that, you said something. You said something personally where I'm at a crossroad, and when I say crossroad, all I mean is like every step I know is one that I probably can't go back. But being bold, and taking those risks. Most people work jobs because they don't want to take the risk of being out there. I'm guilty, and you know what? The reality is, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with saying I'm comfortable being an employee. If you're a father, if you're a husband, honestly, if you're just a man, let's keep it real. If you're a man, you're gonna work. Yeah. Like, that's gonna come first. Like, I know this. I think that's and again, this is another topic, but one of the community issues we have is lack of ownership in being a man. Now, there's been an assault on manhood overall. And that's what's causing part of it. But at the end of the day, a man is going to work. Like, to me, that is big. Like, that is, but you shouldn't define your worth as a man based on your work, but it's a part of it.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a part of it. I'm sorry. Like, if you're a man and if you're not working, I find it hard to respect you as a man. Thanks. But I also had to learn how to respect how work looks for different type of men.
Come on, Court.
So, you know, that to me, I'm like, all right, I respect that, you know. And then I started getting around risk takers. Like I tell you, you get around a couple of risk takers,
yeah,
and you really gonna go home and be like, wait a minute,
quit everything. Yeah, they you quitting everything. Move, sell your house, sell your car.
Man, I got a partner right now, man. Me and him, we be like, what type of man is he? You know, like that's just our little inside joke. Like, what type of man is he? Like, hey, man, you know, you willing to take that risk? And I mean, again, you know, risk reward is always important. You know, anybody listening, hey, you got to do your own assessment. I can't do it for you. But I do know this: if you ain't willing to take if you are literally saying, I will take no risk, you're never going to be a top employee. You're never going to get a reward. You're never going to know your own worth.
Facts.
You'll never know.
So, you know.
All right.
Anybody got what last thoughts? Anybody got last thoughts?
Oh man.
You summed that up pretty well.
Well, you know, I like I said, man, this is an opportunity. You know, we've been on about an hour, so we are going to, you know, we're going to shut it down. But, you know, at the end of the day, anybody listening, I just want you to know, like, at the end of the day, you got three brothers right here. We do call ourselves brothers because we are family. And, you know, in this family, you know, we made an agreement that you don't have to be right, but you got to be honest. And that's what you're getting right here. You're getting honesty. You know, the answers, they might come later, but you definitely getting honesty. So, you know, we appreciate you giving us the time. You know, check us out next one. I wish my brothers well this week. You know, we'll communicate. Peace.
Yes, sir. All right.